Good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Phil, I am the Down Under Maker. I have just realized that my audio is definitely working, but that I have an echo, so I'm just turning that off. And there we go. So, where are we at? We are still building our Delta Flyer. Off stream, I've done a couple of little things. I have cheated on you guys slightly. I did Effector arm number 6, so that's been done. And remember last week we peeled the plastic off the door? I started to mark it. So rather than leave it in harm's way, I have actually mounted it. Now, I've realized that also that some of my cameras aren't self-activating, so bear with me 1 second. There we go. Good morning, projects. Good morning, Rod. Good morning, Pat. Good morning, Penguin. Raj is here. Greenbeard's here. I assume there'll be some others floating around. So, oh, and Jeff was here many, many hours ago. Whether he's here now, I have no idea. So, yeah, let's swap views. Now I've got that camera sorted out. And get rid of this so I'm not seeing myself very, very behind. That's the same camera twice. 1 sec. Nope, not that one. That one. Okay, so like I was saying, the door was starting to get marked, and rather than leave it in such a state where it could get marked even more, I put it on the printer. It's there, it's in place. The magnets hold the door shut, so we are on a win, I think. We do need to tidy up some of the wiring in here because it's just pressing on the door enough to make it not quite sit against the frame, but that is working. What are we planning to do today? We are planning to put the rest of the panels on and to mount the effector. Mounting the effector will come first, and then we will start to do the software and a whole bunch of other little bits and pieces as we go. I have decided to do one small change to the default, and if I can find it, I cut a nice, neat strip. Now, let's go to this one. Normally, you have these two pieces of vanity strip in here to hide all the wiring, but it doesn't hide it from the outside. So if I can find it, I've actually cut myself a nice piece of a red sticky back plastic. Here it is. To go there, to make it all nice and neat and pretty, and that just is going to need a little bit of a trim to make it all nice. So hopefully we'll get there. We do have our effector already built, and the last thing we did last stream was we put our extruder together and got a little bit of PTFE in there because I was quickly testing it to make sure that filament went through, so that we weren't stuck on stream just fault finding silly stuff that isn't directly part of the build. So let's bring up our destruction manual for a minute and work out where we are. That one. Just scanning through chat to see what's going on. Tulsa Skins, try an exclamation mark fart. It doesn't work, dude. I do have some bots running, but not an awful lot. Greenbeard says hi to everybody. Oh, Making Mill Rights here. Hello. I'm just quickly scanning through. That was putting on the panels, which we've already done. Mounting the effectors, we've already done. Putting the frame all together, putting the electronics in. Haha, effector. Bolt the effector to the carriages using 12 M3 by 20 screws. So let's go to this one. One, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now the way I'm planning on doing this is to mount all of the rods to the inside. So mount all to the effector, and then we'll mount them into the chassis. For this, we are going to need to at least go on the outside or the inside. I think on the outside, so that's going to make life easier. I'm confused. Why does it need such long screws? I get confused a lot. We realized that last stream. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least I got lots and lots of interaction last week as everybody screamed "No!" into the chat, and then started face palming their screen so hard that, yeah. For those who weren't here, I was merrily gluing everything together and started gluing too many things together. And basically you epoxy these effector arms onto the shaft. So this is all glued on a template. And I'd started gluing too many, and yeah, it was going to be a whole thing. So there we go. Which way up? Let's start that way up. One. So how is everybody this morning? It was quite an eventful day yesterday on YouTube. There was a major fault with their chat relaying, and most people's streams were just plain broken. I'm just bringing up chat so I can read it more easily. There we go. John Doe, hello. I think that there was 6 of us screaming all at the same time. Yes, RJ, good morning to you as well. Yeah, it wasn't my best moment. I've had a whole bunch of less than stellar moments on my streams at times. But at least chat is working again today, so you guys can scream in real time and not just post emojis. Because by the end of all the shenanigans yesterday, it was only emojis and numerical digits going through. Yeah, RJ even tried calling me on Discord. When you're in streamer mode, RJ, Discord doesn't do that. That's all silenced. Heathen / Millwright / sorry, I still don't know your real name. I am useless with real names thanks to my tumor. My brain doesn't store names well. It took me 9 months to realize that Alex's name was Alex, so. Yeah, you got to help the good guys. And you've been here. You know how dangerous it is down here. Now this arm is mighty close to the silicon protector on the wiring, but I don't think that's going to be an issue. Maybe it could be an issue. No, that's going to be okay, I think. There's a tight tolerance. Worst comes to worst, I'll route it round back underneath and up this side. I'd rather not though, because that screw's also going to be rubbing against it. So I think the effector arm, the fitting here is going to be the lesser of two evils. So we have all of that set up. It's like a giant six-legged octopus. Let's get rid of the lid. And we only have two sides we can set this down on at the moment because the door's on. So what I propose is to do is this side cam. There we go. Now you can see the giant's rat nest of wiring. And now you know why I'm so keen to tidy all that up. Now, let's make sure we get this all right the first time. The little fan faces the front door. So that makes sense that way. Now this could become more and more awkward as we go, but we shall see. In fixing that up, I've lost my chat again. I need to rearrange things slightly, but that'll do. Kookaburra nesting materials. That's better. The screw wasn't biting because it wasn't even remotely aligned with the heat set. Now, this one, I think I'm going to need to open the door. And then I think this is getting awkward, so I might stand the printer upright. Now I've got this sort of vaguely going together. It's one of those things where you expect it to go one way, but it doesn't quite align with that. Now, in case you have been watching the news, 3 people in Perth got struck by lightning yesterday, as if the rest of Australia wasn't trying to kill us. And one poor poodle-looking dog didn't make it after it was struck by lightning. I'm gonna have to stand it up. Go. Stand up there. Close the door for a minute so I can turn it around. Now I think my best bet at this point is to mount all the arms just slightly by hand and then tighten all these up. There we go. Now, in case you missed last stream and you saw the stream before, I was having trouble with one of the carriages. It was binding up. It turned out it was the drive pulley underneath that was giving us a hard time. It was just slightly binding up on the frame. Now, you've seen screws go in a million times, so you're just going to get to see screws go in from different angles. Especially if you watch my 3D sets build series, where I ended up getting a repetitive strain injury. Oh, let's not do that one though, because that's definitely not going to be visible on stream. There's always that one heat bit that squeaks. Can I share any new updates on Index? If I had anything to share, I couldn't share it. I'm sorry. Not that I have anything to share. What I can share with you, though, is that we are currently testing AFC, which is the Box Turtle software, on Vivid. So I'll show you in a minute, but basically I have a Vivid side by side with a Box Turtle all on my Voron. So yeah, that's a thing. And you can run them in a pool. So you can have the main sail software. Let me see if I can bring this up one minute. There's one. There's two. Sorry, I can't show you where I get this from, but I can do this. There we go. That is a Happy Lettuce turtle feeder alongside, sorry, that's a Happy Lettuce turtle feeder, as far as I understand it, on a stealth changer. So that's coming. And let's count them. Box Turtle 1, Box Turtle 2, Vivid, and Happy Turtle Lettuce feeder, all on the same machine. Not my machine. Let me be clear, that's not my machine. And they can be run as a pool. So that is a full 16 tools effectively on one machine. So yeah, that's a thing. Let's bring that back up so I can see what I'm doing. Let's bring chat back up so I can read what you guys are saying. And I'm back. It's strange that people have purchased and not any news has come out except for the load cell update or whatever. There's lots and lots of little things coming out on the Bondtech Discord, Tulsa. So if you aren't already a member of that Discord, go and join. I can send you an invite after the stream if you need me to, because sometimes it's hard to find the links. Won't running them in a pool make them wet? Dad jokes. So yeah, load cells are going to be on there. As far as I understand it, the open source dev kit version is going to have all sorts of mounting options for a eddy current sensor like Kato/Beacon. Not eddy as in BTT eddy as far as I know, although there's no reason why it wouldn't work. Yeah, there's going to be lots and lots and lots of options, but dev kit is dev kit. It's designed that it arrives like a bomb in a box. You have however many tool heads you ordered, plus the master shuttle holder thingy, and the part cooling solution will be included, I think. No idea, but you'll either get CPAP or you'll get the normal on tool head fans, depending on what you ordered, based on what we know publicly. And yeah, it's up to you to mount it or find a community solution that will help you mount it. There's lots of people going, oh, but surely there's going to be a V0 kit and surely there's going to be a Voron 2.4 kit. No, there won't be. It's all going to be you are provided with this set of equipment for you to mount on your printer your way. And unless you can find a community mod, you're on your own. So where are we at? We have our Effector mounted. So let's scroll down a little bit because we need to start doing other bits and pieces. Install the extruder, which we've done, and PTFE tube, which we need to do in a minute. And okay, so we've built our extruder. We need to mount it on the panel. Put this out of the way for a moment so I don't dent the yeah, that's all on screen. Now what I need to do is get all this plastic off. And as we've previously discussed, it's not the easiest task in the world. CoPrint's still going. CoPrint left a bad taste in a lot of buyers' mouths. So if I was you, I would wait for other people to guinea pig it rather than spending your own money. Mushy peas or beans on toast? Beans on toast is normal. What are you talking about? Mushy peas are nasty. I mean, Milray, if you can get them to sponsor you to do a build, go for it. But I wouldn't be parting with my own money until something more reliable has been produced, or proven at least. Who here would have been in the chat? I don't think there's anybody here who was actually online right now who was in the Big Tree Tech chat. Because when CoPrint came out, there's like 3 or 4 of the people in the Big Tree Tech Facebook chat who dived in, paid good money, and then walked away with a very bad taste in their mouth. So that's those mounting holes. but that means you can't get to that mounting hole. So how's that supposed to work? That's what I remembered seeing. You have to trim off. Okay, so let's just talk about what's going on here. I think I can zoom in on this one. That one. We have to remove a big piece of this lug. I had considered doing it off stream, but I'm going to do it on stream with you guys using a big pair of side cutters, and then I'm going to clean it up with a Dremel later. I want to leave as much meat on there as I can. It actually came off way cleaner than I expected. So let's pick that up on something so you guys can see it better. And because I'm not a butcher, for those of you who haven't been very frequent on the channel, and those who are new, I try to live by the motto, what would Steve Builds do? And Steve Builds would not leave a sharp edge, so. That way so you guys can see it. So enough meat left on the plastic for it to be supportive, but also cleaned up nicely. Fill that down a bit more. Get rid of that. So let's have a quick look at this. This is a good time to install the Pt5 tube to proper length. I have found 31 centimeters, so we'll worry about that in a minute. Attach the back panel using 6 M310s. We'll do that in a minute. Then attach the 2 M3x10 screws and heat. So we're using heat sets as nuts. Don't like that idea. Uh, 6, 8, 10. Especially considering there's only 2 of them. It doesn't say that there's any washers involved. I'm going to use washers because I'm not a Neanderthal. And I have lots of them. As Quinn from Blondie Hack says, that's what separates us from the animals. And I have some little M3 nylocks. Are they M2? No, they're 3. That's good. Jeff made it. Now, while I futz around with this, it's a good time to remind everybody to subscribe to all of the usual suspects: RJ, Repo Man, Penguin Makers, Maker Millwright has the free Heathen is he's tagged here on YouTube. He has his channels on both YouTube and Twitch. And is there anybody else I've missed? Oh, Projects and Dad's Garage, also subscribe to him. He's a cool dude. If I've missed anybody, please feel free to say hi in chat and say subscribe to me. That's all good by me. So that's going to go through the glass, the plastic. That's going to go on the back of it, but we're going to put, right. I know I talk to myself a little bit, guys, but it helps me make sense of things. How are we going to support this so it sits nicely? They say to do it on the printer, but I don't like that idea. That's going to be about the right height. That way. Screw up from the bottom, as the actress said to the clergy. So, like I mentioned, I'm going a little bit off the reservation in terms of how I'm doing this, because I don't like the way they were doing it. It probably has some sound logical sense financially for LDO to do it this way. But we have access to nylock nuts and fumbly fingers. Okay, so what we're going to need is a pair of needle nose pliers, which are here, and my 2mm driver. Now this is all going to need to be flipped over. Okay, that's easy enough done. And something else to help support this. Just balance it on its end, Phil. Just balance it on its end. Hopefully in the middle of the screen so people can see. Can I please stop inspiring you? As you well know, if you want to keep your fingers, you do things the right way. Or at least a way that will help mitigate the risks. And nylocks should help ensure that this doesn't vibrate loose. There we go. So that's good. Now it says that they want 31 centimeters of PTFE. I know the PTFE is here somewhere. There. No, that's not it. Did I pack it away? I must have done. That is not it. thin wall, so that's definitely not the right one. Sorry, guys. There we go. It was underneath some other stuff. No, this is 50 centimeters because they're nice and generous, thank goodness. Now, before I scratch and mar that, I'm going to pick that up. I'm going to stand it there on its edge. $30 centimeters plus a little tiny bit more. Hi, nice. A night stream for me, but a good time for you guys. Phil can only stream at 4 AM local time because that is when the drop bears are asleep. No, it's actually when all my family are asleep and I don't have other commitments. So yeah, that's what's working for us at the moment. I had to move out of my old streaming time, which would have been yesterday, my time, and move things around because my daughter and son have swimming lessons, and it was also getting really annoying coordinating with Steve Builds to make sure they didn't clash with each other. So it just made sense to move things around. Now, I'm just grabbing the SD card out while we're waiting, while I'm jabbering rather. So it's one less thing I have to remember, and it's something else I can throw in the bin. Okay, so where are we at? We need to put that panel on, and we need to put that sticker on. So again, we're going a little bit off reservation in terms of what we're doing here. I'm going to get the printer again for a second because it is in the way. When I saw how this was done, I decided I wanted to hide all the wiring, and that is best accomplished with a little bit of sticky back plastic. Now, how did I do this? Very simply. Not this ruler, another one I've got is exactly this width. So I just cut down both sides of it to make it sure it was nice and parallel. And yeah, that's what I ended up doing. That needs to be 295 mil. That's a good edge, so that's fine. 295 mil is there. And this is where hopefully I get this straight first time. I have time to play with my printers between 11 and 3 in the morning. That's pretty much how my life works a lot of the time. So just reiterating, this isn't part of the normal build. This is just something I'm doing for me because it hides all that nasty wiring that's in the conduit, and I've just managed to crinkle that right at the very end. Now, is it perfect? No. Is it going to be better than looking at all that wiring? Yes. So, sorry, putting that back in the middle of the screen. A couple of little bubbles that I can work out. What is this stuff, if you're wondering? It's the plastic stuff you put onto kids' school books. I had some lying around from my other job. And yeah. Phil, can you move the top down to the right, just a smidgen? Like that. But now this is going to cause OCD issues for people. So a little bit back, and I'll try my best to actually stay underneath it. Sorry, guys. Right. So that's in place. Is it perfectly aligned? Nope. But we can address that shortly. So that's all in place. What I need to do now quickly is very gently poke a hole here and here. That one will probably self-poke. Poke that one. And that one. And that one. Why do I poke those holes through? It's just to allow the M3 screws to make their way past the tape once it's actually installed. So we've got the 31 centimeters of Pt5, that's over here. Don't let me lose track of it. And let's put this panel on. So I'm just working out which panel it is. It's this one. So that goes that way. Get rid of that cable up there. Get rid of that cable over there. Pull those cables in there. And now we need a whole bunch of M3 by 6 M3 by 10 for that. Yeah. Let's just do a couple in the corners and then we'll put the rest in once it's relatively safe and not going to fall over and bang itself on something. How am I liking the build? It's been fun. There's been a few bits and pieces that have been a bit confusing along the way, partially because I'm doing this at 3 AM in the morning my time, partially because the instructions are a little on the vague side. If you were to go back and have a look at the instruction manual that's available via printables, you'll see that the diagram for installing the heat sets is very, very, very low contrast, and it's really difficult to tell whether you've got them all in. And sometimes it's difficult to tell which side of the part the heat set is supposed to be installed from. Overall, though, I've quite enjoyed it. It's been a lot easier to get together than my box turtle was. To be honest, when I was doing my box turtle, I was kind of wondering why everybody raved over LDO kits. Because my build experience was not very good. Sorry, what I'm using here right now is I'm just going to see if swapping cams is going to make life easier for you guys to see. There we go. I'm using the little doohickey tool that we used for gluing the effector arms together, just to raise it up off the bench, so I've got a straighter angle for the driver. And it does seem like I have slightly smaller panels than Steve builds and Killer Prince got, because they just go in. So they must have slightly refined the panel sizes for the kit, because when they were doing it, their panels, they needed to finesse the frame a little bit. Speaking of finessing the frame, I did have to do one slight trim on the plastic around the top hinge, where I put the heat set in, it deformed the plastic a little bit. So I had to just get a deburring tool. I'll show you guys in one moment. So where are we? Let's get rid of that lifter for a second. This edge here was just ever so slightly binding on the hinge, on the clear panel. So a little bit of shaving with a deburring tool and that fixed that. We're talking like 0.5 millimeter, maybe. It's nothing more than tolerances than that cause that. It's not an issue. So that panel is on. That actually feels reasonably secure, so that's good. It is going to make tidying up that wiring a little bit more difficult. What size screws do we use for the vanity plates? It says to do that after we've got it semi-tested, so we'll follow that wisdom. Open the door. I'm just going to test. Yeah, that's all looking good. I'm going to lift that out of the way so I don't go damaging the magnet. There we go. Okay, that's all there. Okay, so tweezers out of the way. Big scissors out of the way. Screwdriver back in its slot for a minute. Let's install this Pt5, which goes... You guys can't see this. Let's see if I can finesse these angles. There. Still not good. Is that any better? Now you're looking through that door, so let's go there. That's in place. That's not fitting very nicely. That's better. Nope, wrong side of the clip fill. There. So what I'm trying to do is get the PTFE retainer to slide into its little house and actually hold the PTFE like that. And that's going to need tweezers. Now this could be fun. I've got to get that retainer on that one. Hemostats will work, hopefully. Hopefully you guys managed to catch that on the big camera overhead. Next up, we need to join some wires up. So let's go to that one. Aha! That's not very straight. Ah, that's because it's standing on Haribos. That's better. Now, after chatting with a few people, I have come to the realization that it's the gyroscope in these OBSBot units that have been panicking, for lack of a better way of describing it. And that's what's been causing us the grief. With the camera sometimes shutting down. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to swap out the overhead cam with one of the side cam and swap them over so that we don't have the issues of me moving that camera around and it going into panic and freezing up. So those are in place. Now we need those ones. I may have miscalculated. I may need to move those wires. Yes, I am going to move those wires, I think. Okay, so let's just explain what's going on. I have run, because we didn't know any better, this wire and this wire, which are the hot end and the, I think it's the part cooling fan. It's one of the fans. Oh no, the thermistor, through that hole, because it seemed to make logical sense at the time, but it doesn't actually work that way. So I'm going to quickly move these wires around so that we can run them all together and keep them all bundled up nice and neat. So it's this one I need first. And they go up there. Now, because these are for the heater, it makes no difference which way around you insert them. But we do need to remember that this is a top-down style fitting. So you have to install it at the top counterintuitively. And then the way the mechanism works, it pulls the base of the connection up towards the screw that I'm turning. And that then clamps it into place. Now, when you're tightening these, always hold the whole terminal. Otherwise, you're relying on the way the pins are soldered into the board to hold it together. And that's not a good plan. So that's in place. Now, we are almost certainly going to be shortening this wire at some stage. I've got plenty of crimps in my box of tricks. That one should fit through. Now the access through here is very, very tight. So I'm just trying to get all the cables into this best spot. There we go. And that's why I did the hot end wiring first, because that gave me more space. It wasn't coincidence, I promise. Now, the thermistor cable does have a locking tab on it, so I've just made sure that's secured. And So will the hot end heater. Done. Now that can pull up. That can pull up. And then we need to worry about plugging things in underneath, on the top of me. Right, so fan 1, let's go to our diagram. There we go. Hot end fan goes there. Part fan's the one we need. Let's turn the board so it matches what I'm seeing. That's better. So bed sensor is in. Next one is controller fan, which is the one in the lid. So we can worry about that in a minute. Then we have fan 1 and fan 2. We can always swap these around if we need to. Fan 1, I'm going to call the hot end. Fan 2, I'm going to call part cooling. 15 watching and only 13 likes. Come on, fellas. Seriously. And any ladies that are in the chat. Don't be shy. Say hi. These guys aren't too weird, I promise. They're a bit weird. I won't say they're not a bit weird, but they're not that weird. And what I have here is some Velcro-y straps, which just help keep all the oh, that's the LEDs. I was wondering what that was. LEDs go into that one, and it only just reached. That's right. Tuck that under there. Turn it over. And insert. Now, Wi-Fi antenna was something we skipped the other day because it had fallen off the bench. You guys probably can't make it out very easily, but that little dot there at the end of my finger is the Wi-Fi antenna port. And doing this with multifocal lenses ain't easy. Where's my tweezers gone? Now, when this is in the right spot, it kind of just clicks on and stays. Getting it to that right spot is often painful, as you're seeing. Did anybody who caught anybody else's streams, did they give any hints? if this doesn't fit easily, I might just skip it and see if we can get it working on Wi-Fi without it. Because if you break these headers, you're in for a very bad time. I've just realized I can't see chat to see if anybody gave me any pointers anyway. We throw money at building printers instead of OnlyFans. There we go, got it. Don't ask me how, it just kind of fell into place, but that's all good. So, Wi-Fi antenna is now snug and secure. Just double checking around everything. Controller fan is the only thing that's missing. Move any jumpers plugged into the board. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that's all done. That is the extruder wire, all the way around. Now I've been mentally mapping out how I want to secure all these wires and which ones I'm going to shorten. Because some of these wires are not part of the kit, they come from the add-ins like the hot end, and that means that they're not custom for what we're doing. Let's do something sensible before I accidentally break this. Slowly extract it, slide it under there, move it around here, and until I'm happy, I'm not going to tape it properly into place, so I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape. Secure it here. Oh, I'm off screen. A little bit of masking tape to secure it here. This is old rotten masking tape. I need to get some new stuff. So please forgive the painter's tape. It's just there to make sure I don't accidentally damage that antenna. Let's put the lid on, just to get all these cables at least a little bit hidden away. That goes there. And that's there. So let's go back to that one, because the printer is already nicely aligned for us putting our last panel on. Hi, a bit more in the middle of the screen now. Finally found time to join the stream again. Hi, Jake. So today's stream has been a lot less of me doing silly stuff. And apart from struggling with the Wi-Fi antenna, it's been pretty smooth so far. I've just jinxed myself, I realize that. But we've managed to get all of the wires plugged in to the right spots, hopefully. and we've managed to get the Effector mounted. And this is the last of the 3 acrylic panels, which doesn't seem to have a right way up, so that makes life easier. With M310s. Five, 6. Let's move this back just a little so you can see a little bit more of what I'm doing. So if I fumble and drop something, it'll be easier to see. Now, not all the way tight because I've... Okay. It does have a way up. So just to show you, the holes at the bottom seem to be narrower spaced than the top holes. And that does align with what I'm seeing on the other end of the panel. What bad luck are you having, Jake, if you're having to absorb it for other people? That's better, that now lines up. Let's get our trusty strip of plastic, wherever I put it, there it is. Go away, don't want to see you. Again, just jacking up the printer a little so I can put the screws in more in a straighter manner. What I have in my box of many boxes of many fasteners is I have some little nylon washers, and I think I might actually 12 new starters on Monday. Oh, that's going to be fun. I have no idea what you do for a job, but 12 newbies is always fun. I worked at a big telco for a long time, and new intakes were always the bestest. There's always the cocky guy who thinks he knows more than you. There's always the guy who's going to do dumb stuff. And if it's a call center, there's always that one who likes to wear lots and lots of makeup like they're going to a fashion show. And you're like, you're sitting in a call center. Because my job used to sit alongside a big call center. It's buttoned up. So that means we need to start doing other things. Micro SD card. Hands plus me. Let's get rid of the printer for a minute. I am going to rearrange my screens for a moment so that you guys are here. That way I can talk to you guys. At least you're not held accountable on paper. Well, that's a win. Oh, sourcing and prepping laptops. Why do they make it so hard to get your little micro SD card out? Get rid of all that junk. Micro SD reader there. Apologies if you hear a bong, you shouldn't, but apologies if you do. Just a Ali. I think this actually came with my Cyborg kit. Brad, you made it! Delta printers do the gangster walk. So, micro SD card is installed. That's our power cord. This is our power brick. Let's have a look at this, shall we? It is 8.33 amps, 200 watts, 24 volts. That makes sense. 24 times 8.33. Yep, roughly 200 watts. And it was built in the 10th, wait, what? Yeah, I'm assuming that's the 10th of December 20, no, kind of been, there's a code here which should vaguely indicate what date it was. 24, 10, 3. Yeah. So built in 2024, probably part of batch 3 and batch 10 of whatever that was. So yeah. It's always a good idea to have a look at those sort of things, just so you know what's going on. And double check. Now, for those of you who haven't seen an Aussie plug before, here we go. Earth pin, neutral, live. Tickly one, not tickly one, and the one that saves your ass. And to make sure that you can't touch the tickly one, they have these little black plastic covers on the bottom half of the pin. So that part touches stuff, that part can't touch stuff. And it means that little kids can't get their finger in behind the plug and touch something tickly. Now, my benchtop power is there. That's my BEC cable. Now, let's get the micro SD card copying the file and doing all that stuff. Then let's do the plugging in, and I want you to all have your clipping fingers ready so that you can clip it in case we get magic smoke. Because magic smoke is content, and content gets me clicks. And you're going to send me your magic smoke videos, and I will get as many clicks as I can so we have more friends to join us on chat. How does that work for everybody? Taking all the excitement out of things. Voltage and frequency. This is 100 to 240 volts and 50 to 60 hertz. In Australia, we run at 50 hertz-ish, 49.97 roughly is what I normally get according to my solar inverter. And the peak voltage I'm normally seeing is 252 according to both the solar inverter and my car charger. Brad, why would we need L1 and L2? Our outlets do real men voltage at 240. We can do 240 volts at 10 amps or 240 volts at 15 amps on our sockets. So let us have a quick look at this. Okay, I'm just quickly having a quick scan through everything. There's an optional tutorial video which we might look at if we're bored or we can't work something out. The board compatibility. The config files used are specifically for the BTT-DZ01. For those of you who don't know, it's a business-to-business board. It's not easy to get as a normal consumer. And if you can get it, it's only from AliExpress, from that one vendor who gouges you 3 times what it should cost. If you're using a different board, you can't use these files, blah, blah, blah. jumpers and switches. Make sure you remove all of them, which we just did before powering on the printer. Make sure the switches on the board are set to OTG Type C and H616 RP2040. Let's double check that. Lid off. There's one switch. Not that I can see what it says. Okay. Nope, 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 nope. I was just checking to see if I downloaded any other things. They use Balena Etcher, so we'll go to Balena Etcher, which I don't have on this machine. That's unusual. Let's download it. etch.balena.io, that's the right one. Download the Etcher for Windows. Don't bother reading it down under Maker, just plug it in. What could possibly go wrong? You're an electrical guy. I'm not an electrical engineer, Jeff. My stuff is all based on aeronautical stuff. So I'm not technically allowed to touch the PowerPoints, which is really silly. Caught being malware at one stage. I've not heard of that, but we can run a scan on it if we're... I'd be very surprised because these guys are very open source oriented and very IoT oriented. So while it may have had a malicious payload, I'm pretty sure that they would have fixed it very quickly. Show in folder. Right click. Scan with Defender. Downloads. I probably should clean up my downloads folder. Let's show you what's going on. It doesn't take very long. So I'm just doing the whole folder, just for giggles. Says we've got about 5 more seconds. Probably going to be longer than that. But safety first. Now I have already downloaded the image, and that's sitting in my downloads folder too. Haven't I? I thought I downloaded that. I've got that printer config. While waiting for that to finish, let's go back to here. No, that one. I thought I downloaded an image. Am I confused? Ah, there's the image. Change logs. Nothing worth worrying about. If you use a minimal version of the image, additional settings required to after installing Clipper screen. Okay. So we won't use the minimal, we'll use the main version. All right, so that's coming down. That's going to take a few moments. Oh, using telemetry data. So let's get rid of that for a minute. We've got Boolean Etcher going. Actually, we need to install Boolean Etcher, don't we? Let's stop the scan because we know it wasn't necessary. Okay, so Boolean Etcher is running. We need to wait for that file to finish downloading. Let's tie up some of these wires on the top while we wait. Let's go to that one. There's like 50 cable ties that come with the printer, so we may as well use some of them. We can cut them off and not care if that many. So let's pull those out of the way for a moment. I'm not planning on doing a cable pawn level of wire management at this stage. I'm just trying to make it so that the lid closes nicely. That bundle's also nice and it held up quite well. That around there. Fold that in half and in half again. Now, I almost committed a cardinal sin. I was about to cable tie a big bundle of heater wires with the thermistor wires, which can lead to noise in the thermistor signal. But I corrected myself because I'm a good kid. Boolean Etcher confuses you. Well, hopefully we'll go through it, we'll nut it out if it's changed, and you'll know how to use it in future. Now, for those of you who don't know, you can also use Raspberry Pi Imager. It will do exactly the same thing, you just pick custom image and custom device type. And again, once we're happy and we've got this printing, we'll do some cable management to get this all pretty. Snippy snips. Hopefully that wasn't too loud for you guys. It shouldn't have been. Power supply cable. Might as well do that while we wait. Now, socket is currently turned off. That's a bit busy in this spot, so when I do my wiring management, I'll tidy that up a bit more. That's better. That's not too bad. I find those clicks satisfying, but I'm a weirdo. I am going to make up an extension cable for that. That is annoyingly short, and I'm going to end up ripping something off. There we go. Power cable, extruder. That's the other thing we can do while we wait. How's that download going? It's finished. We'll worry about that in a moment. So we're going to need that. We're going to need 2 hammerheads of the M3 variety. And let's go back to that one. Not that one. That's the same one again. Aha. I'm just looking for the confirmation of which upright is best to put the spool holder on. Spool holder. Attach the spool holder using 2 M3/8s. M3/8. Now, does it tell us which pylon to use? It does not. Let's take a punt and do this one. One. Now, that's going to go that way. That's got a few stress marks on it. If you want to see how to relieve stress marks on ABS parts, watch Canuck Creator's video, a short video that he released the other day. He covered that very easily and simply. Now, I already had another piece of PTFE which was a bit chewed up that I'm using for the spool holder rather than use the new piece. There. That seems secure enough. It's not super tight. Shall we do blue or yellow or orange or grey? Guys, you guys work out what color you want me to do the first print in while we do the next bit. Flare. That's all in there. That's all over there. I don't think any of that is actually going to get caught up, so I'm not stressed about doing the test print as is. We'll close that. We may not get to actually printing today because we've still got the calibration to do, but that's all there. So, Balena Etcher. That's the website, not the app. Balena Etcher. Flash from a file, yes. go to Downloads, CB1 Debian, open. Select a target. 32 gigs, that will be the only 32 gig. In fact, let's try, just make sure. And disappears. And it may not show, we may need to come back out and back in. Did I just jinx it? There we go, 32 gigs. Select and flash. Okay, Brad, not quite sure why you had difficulty with that, if I'm honest. It's flashing. Now, if you caught Killer Prince and Steve Builds as they were doing their Delta Flyers, Killer was talking about using eMMC on this board, and I totally plan to, but it's better to flash it via do it via micro SD and then swap over than try and flash the other way. Or if you've got an eMMC reader for your computer, you can flash it direct to the eMMC and go that way. And that's going to be 6 minutes. What can we do for 6 minutes? We can run a little bit of PTFE there, which is going to make a lot more sense. So and did we work out what color we were going to do for our first print? Mountain Dew. Okay. I'm not getting any response from you guys, so I am going to go with gray, because that'll show up most of the issues with the print if we have any. My daughter stole my little steps that I used for climbing up to get my filament so she could help Mum cook. There we go. That wasn't as exciting as it could have been. Maybe it's because you're using a 3.5-inch floppy. Jeff, be nice. Brad's not that old. Close. He's more of a zip drive kind of guy, I think. Am I missing something? Was there any? Oh, there is a PTFE guide. But it doesn't show you where to fit it. What do I do with that piece there? That's not going to be long enough either. Oh, there it is, right at the very top. Okay, so it's just move that down a bit. Okay, so I'm just nutting through what's going on here. can all live on the top. So while we're waiting, I wasn't paying full attention, freely admit that. This needs to drop down a bit. To roughly here, according to the diagram. Just quickly show you guys. So I've just moved the spool holder down, and then at the top here is the PTFE clampy bit, except the supplied PTFE doesn't appear to be anywhere near long enough to reach that. So oh, that's power cable hook. That's not PTFE guide either. Memento bugs, not snow. Don't forget, Gog, when they have that crazy plant that will burn your face off. That could fall on. If rain drips off that, apparently that'll burn your face off. So. There we go. That's installed. Now, is this high enough? Yeah, high enough. Okay, so that one. Just trying to get the PTFE to feed into the extruder, and it's not gripping. It feels like the filament is stuck on the PTFE. So it grips to there and then it stops gripping. Let's try beveling the filament. Am I going to put Kato on this? You know what? I had thought about it. But it's not like this bed needs to be dynamically leveled, and it's not exactly a big bed. That's better. I'm I'm just watching the filament slowly make its way down the PTFE inside. You may or may not be able to see it, unfortunately. I can just make it out. Let's go. Helps if you can see what I can see. So it's just sitting just above the hot end now. So we'll leave it there for now. At this point, I won't put carton on my litter box. Dude, you have problems with the weirdest stuff. It can sit on a cactus with its jabberclogging friend. Okay, so there. Open. So the filament is sitting around about there. Let's see if Bellina Etcher has done its thing. No, it's still going, got about 3 minutes. So, you know what? Let's put these cable covers on. We have nothing better to do while we wait, so we may as well. What size screws were they? They were M3x6. I need to scoop up that wire, not that wire. Is this a kit you might have bought if you had not won it? If other things weren't going on, probably. As the stars aligned in this particular situation, no, I wouldn't have been able to afford it because I'd also, as this was all coming out, I had just put a deposit down for index. So I wouldn't have been able to afford to do this if I hadn't won it. Have I enjoyed building it? Yes. Sorry, I know you can't see a lot with my arm in the middle of the screen, but it's just necessary for what I'm doing to align everything, and I'll get it out as soon as I can. Okay, so you can see what I see. As you can see, it doesn't quite line up properly, the plastic versus the printed part versus the plastic plastic strip I've added. But what I might do is just reach in with a razor blade and tidy that up a little bit. But as a solution, how much neater is that, not being able to see those wires? So I'm quite happy with the concept, even if it wasn't executed as flawlessly as it could have been. I'm going to have to turn you guys around for a second. Ah. I couldn't quite get the M3 screw to bite because there was a stepper motor wire just tucked in between the acrylic and the cover. So that's that. And we can do the bottom half now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I feel kind of thought it because of his Lego fetish. I don't have a Lego fetish. I've made the stupid mistake of introducing my 4-year-old to Lego. And I will be forever poor as a result. Now this is a particularly tight fit. There we go. So you can see that they're not quite aligned. So what I need is my tweezers. Where did I put my tweezers? Pokey Phillips head will do. That worked better than expected. I've got the softest of pressure against that part, hoping I can get it to bite without having to reach all the way through again. Nope. And I think I'm going to have to take the third panel off because I think there's a wire sticking proud. There. Yeah, it's going to be easier to take this third panel off. And according to Bellina Etch, we've got about another 25 seconds. Taking a lot longer than it said it would. Don't tease Brad about his Jabbercloggy. Although some of the posts on LDO's announcement of their update of their kit were scathing. So just in case you're wondering and confused what I'm doing, I'm taking off the third panel, the one that's actually just plain plastic with 6 holes drilled in it. Is a bit opinionated about Jabberclocky. I tried the open source version rather than the kit, wasn't happy with it, and then I watched all these people buy the LDO one and be thoroughly unenthused by it. So there we go. There. That cableway is not a pretty solution. I wonder why they didn't design a wire path into the columns. There's too many wires, it wouldn't have fit. I mean, you might have been able to run it down the side of the one of the rails, but I think it would have ended up with it would have been ugly wherever it was and hard to deal with. So while I've got that panel off, I just saw it, there it is. While I've got the panel off, get this to peel nicely, or am I going to have to wait till off stream? There we go. There we go. There is an advantage to being the last cab off the rank when it comes to building some of these machines. You get to see the bits you're not really sure about and think up ways to fix it. That could do with a little bit of a better trim with a newer blade, but that's close enough. So, Bellina Etcher is now done. Okay, maybe it's not. Something went wrong. If it's a compressed image, please check the archive is not corrupted. The writer process ended abruptly, unexpectedly rather. Cancel. Let's have a look at You know what? Let's see if it'll boot. It wouldn't be the first time I've had a CRC error, a check error, and it's worked fine. So it's not a zip, it's an XZ file, Gergman. That's all done. Well, if you're buffering repo, that's better than not being able to chat at all. Okay, so let's swap to a view where you guys can see everything. Let's go side cam. Let's open the door. Let's take the lid off. Let's turn the top-down camera on. Let's move the effector to a sensible location. And are we ready, guys? Do you have your fingers on the clip button? Turn that down just a little. Got to catch the smoke from as many angles as possible. Having said that, should we jack up the side camera too? No, because that'll probably panic and stop. Let's just go with what we've got. So that's all plugged in, that's all plugged in. Let's turn the power on. We have a red light. We have two red lights. We have things happening. You know what I realized we didn't do? Did you remember to cross the neutral and live wires? What we didn't do is we didn't set the Wi-Fi credentials. So we'll give this a minute to do its first boot. But we don't have any magic smoke, which is always a good sign. Everything seems fine so far. I got my fingers crossed still. Not seeing anything untoward going on. Now, I don't think you guys can see this easily, but there's an LED here and an LED here. Both are on and constant. You see it there? No, still not easily visible because of the bright lights. If I do this, maybe. There you go. I have a little ring light around my overhead camera. I'm not seeing any flashing and stuff. That makes me think that the image was actually corrupt and not working. So let's stop that, shut that down. All the lights are off. rather than Berliner Escher this time, I think we are going to go with Raspberry Pi Imager. So it's that. So we have no filtering, next. All the way to the bottom, use custom. Pick our CB1 Debian, go next. There's our 32 gig drive. Exclude system device, yep, next. Writing, right. You're about to erase all data on the mass storage, yes. If all of a sudden OBS stops, you know I picked the wrong drive. Oh, this seems to be a little bit quicker. That's a win. Hi. So, while we wait, I'm just going to do a little bit of tidying up and putting some screwdrivers away. Time is 5 o'clock my time. We've probably got time to get this image written, but I don't think we're going to get too much further today. The kids will be awake at any moment, and that will mean that we don't get to do very much more. While we're waiting, let's put this side panel back on. Turn it so you guys can at least see. Let's go that one for a minute. There's all the screws. There's the panel. Got it the right way up first time this time. You guys have gone quiet. Has YouTube chat died again? Now, the other thing I'm thinking I might do is I have some 0.5mm foam strip that I might run around the edges of the panels, mostly to stop it vibrating rather than worrying about heat. So they are in. Greenbeard's still here, Bearded Bucket is still. Oh, hi, Bearded Bucket. I didn't see you come in. My apologies. I do normally allow it to verify if it's an image I'm not used to, Jeff. Nick's somewhere. And that's probably how Berliner Escher knew that there was a problem with the image, because it had done its verify and gone, no, there's something not right here. Commissioning a chiller that will eventually, evidently, built by goblins. So that panel is all on. So what I'm doing is I'm just relieving the tension just a little bit on the screw and I'm pulling the plastic up a little bit just to try and take some of the slack out. And I think I'm definitely going to get myself some of the nylon washers that I've got sitting in my drawer just to protect the plastic a little bit. We're at 60% on the right, according to Raspberry Imager. And I'm just looking, and there are some spots I can run cable ties through in the top panel here. So I am thinking down there. Or maybe because I can't see that one. Down through that one. Don't you hate that? You know the hole is there, but you can't quite. There. So that one can be held down there. That one will be restrained nicely there. That one can go through it as well. %75%. Kenneth Davis, how are you? Welcome aboard. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. That's good. That's one bundle of wires dealt with. Some of those wires look like they could be quite, yeah, I am going to shorten them, but I just want to get it printing first. I'm not one of those people who goes hardcore for the cable management, but I do like it to be a little bit tidy. Now there's another spot there that could handle all of that. Let's unplug that for now. It's in the verifying stage on Raspberry Imager. So I'm currently doing streamer contortions to get this. I'm standing on tippy toes with my arm reached over the door. There. Wasn't the spot I was aiming for, but that's okay. That's actually going to work better, I think. Except that tie strap is inverted. Where's my phone? There we go. Now I've got a glimmer of light to see. Much easier. %25 on the verification. And I did it again. That one's cursed. Because there's so many wires in this area, I'm trying to run both of the cable ties. So I've got maximum possible control. So that's the right way round. Let's take that one out. Leave Brittany alone. Chiller Goblins visited my micro SD. Got it, and it's the right way around. Yes. So let's very carefully pick, dropped it. Very carefully pick that up and pull that underneath. Including that bundle there, and go zip. There we go, that's much tidier. And guess what? It turned around again. Oh well, that can stay for now. We'll deal with that at another stage. We are at 80% of the verification. All I want to do is quickly make sure that our Wi-Fi is set appropriately. And then we can go forward. Linux is successfully installed for Penguin. That's awesome. I've still got a couple of minutes. Got it. Storage has been automatically ejected and verified. Okay, so we need to unplug it and we need to plug it back in. I have a G-boot driver visible. So let's have a quick look at this. Ambient environment. System config, let's see if it's in here. Wi-Fi SSID. Let's turn that camera. Okay. Bring that back. So I'm just checking because I don't use this SSID very often. I think it's now I've got a Unify set up. SSID. Down under maker Wi-Fi password. Clipper done. Clipper. Why do I not care about you guys seeing it? Because it doesn't matter. You don't live anywhere near me. So if I don't share this password with anything else, what does it matter? People get all wound up about this and it doesn't matter. Hi, Luke. We are just setting up the Wi-Fi credentials for the Delta Flyer. Save. And now we're going to unplug that. We are going to plug it into the board. Now, Luke, we have already powered it up and there was no magic smoke, so we had a win on that regard. Not quite sure why that keeps coming a little bit loose, but it does. There. So it's off at the socket. Plugged in there. Back underneath the middle of the camera so that if we do have anything go pop, it's nice and visible, and power it up. One red light, two red lights. Flicking, we have flicking, people. Let's turn that light off. So we didn't have flicking here before. So we are onto a win. Just like having a look at my Unify to see if I can spot it coming on online. Nothing yet. The LAN port lights have just gone off, which makes me think it's booting in some way, shape or form. Now, something that's a little bit disturbing is, and I don't know if you can see that, this is flashing with a regular pattern now. Like it may be an error code. Give it a few moments longer. Going and going and going. Yep, that's definitely flashing with a regular cycle. So something's not right. It's 5:30 here, guys. Well, 5:23. My kids are going to be up any minute. I say we have achieved lots and lots and lots and lots of cool stuff, and that I am going to get myself a hardwired network cable ready for next week, and we do that rather than push things any further and make a mess of things. So where are we at? We've put the panels on, we've got the effector mounted, we've hopefully got the image onto the machine. What I might do is put a, yes, there's a HDMI port. I might put a touchscreen onto the board just to see what's going on, so we can see what it's actually saying in the system, and we'll go from there next week. So I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under Maker. I'd like to thank you all for joining me. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. The other thing you can do for my channel is if you can bring a friend next week, that will be amazing. It will mean that more people get to see me do crazy things and break stuff. Did you enter the country and time zone? Not in the config file, no I didn't. That might affect it, you're right. The time zone is Asia Shanghai, which is effectively the same as mine. Aha, but it's timed out. It's hashed out. So that needs changing, and I can fix that very easily. I will, thanks for that tip, Luke. I will get that and we'll try that again next stream. Have a great week, everybody, and I will catch you all next time. Bring a friend next week. Hit the like button if you haven't. Subscribe if you haven't already. Time for me to hop on out of here. Bye, guys.